because of how confident she looks. She truly wants the ball. Even after an error, she knows she can get that kill.
Grew up a little over an hour from here in Spring, Texas. She ties the match early at 4. Free ball for the Gators. Sliding over is August. Underwood there on the defensive end. Humphrey with the blast. Stuckey. From the back row, Martin. That one spins around Underwood. Joust popped up in the air by Lednicki. Furious action early on, and the point goes to the Gators.
And Humphrey saw how pulled in the Gators defense was towards the right side. She saw that left back wide open, try to get that mark, just a little too strong.
Kennedy Martin, meanwhile, looks better than ever after coming back from the injury in the season opener that cost her to miss 7 matches, but delivers the service error there.
And talking about missed serves, if you are a player and you just had an ace and then you missed your serve, it's really okay. But not only did Martin have an ace, she also went on a run. She held that ball at the service line for 3 serves.
The Gators up by 2 here in the opening set. Tatum Thomas, lethal from the service line. Second on the team in aces this year. Stuckey with the dump, pushed it wide.
I like seeing Stuckey get this offensive this early in this set. Again, coming back off an injury, the fact this 5-1 setter is able to be aggressive this early on shows you she's confident in her play.
And I stand corrected, not wide. Point Gators. Ashley Stuckey playing in just her 8th match of the year after recovering from season-ending knee injury last year. That one, an absolute blast from AC Fitzpatrick. Stuckey setting it up for Martin.
Nice dig.
Yeah, Underwood going to the floor. On the other end, it's McKissick. And the Gators end up with the point.
Stuckey setter, but also blocker. She does such a good job at defending her side of the net. And again, she's not worried about setting. She's worried about the ball. Her job was to block in that moment.
AC Fitzpatrick, former Penn State transfer. She's had some big matches against this Aggie squad. That high serve goes right into the net.
Fitzpatrick is the player. If you are an Aggie, you are praying, please serve that ball in the net. Her top spin serve is unmatched. She has perfect spin, especially when she hits that seam.
Gators were on a 7-1 run there. Serving now, it's Morgan Perkins with the ace.
It's not often in D1 volleyball you see an ace be shanked like that. Martin not able to keep her controlled platform.
Morgan Perkins, the former Oklahoma Sooner, who has been a force. The antenna. AC Fitzpatrick. Last year she did hit 306, a couple of aces, 14 kills against the Aggies. In a win here in College Station, but the service error by Underwood.
And for Underwood, the libero, you are hoping that serve is always coming to you every time. But especially after you miss your serve, you want to make up for that with a 3-option pass and serve receive.
Jamie Morrison's squad started off the year 8-0, one of the best starts in program history. Trailing here in the opening set against the visiting Gators. Maddie Wack, swing and a miss.
And it's brave to set your middle of 3 when you are behind the 10-foot line, but Wack has clearly made that connection with Perkins. Wouldn't be surprised if she tries it again pretty soon here.
Maddie Wack has been a major addition coming over from LSU. Leads the SEC in assists. Unable to get one there. She'll try it again. And that one delivered home by Brooke Jeffrey, the Austin native.
Good vision by Jeffrey, seeing that line is completely open and turning her shoulders, forcing that ball to go right behind Alexis Stuckey.
Here's Lednicki.
And Logan Lednicki is one of the hardest servers for the Aggies. That's a player that you really do not want to lose that serve. You want to go behind the line and keep that ball as many reps as you can.
Jamie Morrison said, listen, there's a fine line between being aggressive and obviously having too many service errors. But you have to go for it. That was service error number 4 for the Aggies. One-handed by McKissick. Jeffrey has to reach back for that one, pushed up. Oct sends it off the tape. There's Fitzpatrick. Just over the net by Jeffrey. That one off hands. The Gators continue to roll.
Huge back row attack for the Gators. A little out of system on both sides, but I really like the original dig from McKissick, just reading the play perfectly, putting out a hand, and eventually getting the back row attack.
There is Kennedy Martin. Hitting percentage and kills percent better than they were a season ago during her record-setting campaign. She had the most kills by a freshman in Gators history, but we will have our first challenge of the night, courtesy of Jamie Morrison in Texas A&M by Aggies head coach Jamie Morrison. If it stands, his team in a deficit here, down by 7 in the opening set.
That's a really good point, Alex, for the challenges. They can also essentially be used as a timeout if it aligns with a reason to take a challenge. But regardless, for Florida and A&M, this is where you take a breather. For the Gators, keep doing what's going right, which is shoving that ball down the line, really in-system plays, and keeping A&M out of service.
Well, at this point in the opening set, the Gators hitting nearly 240, the Aggies minus 150. What does A&M have to do to try and get back in it?
A&M really needs to, one, stay in system. Their balls are kind of set all over the place right now. Not the best decisions by any teammate really on who to set at which time. A lot of hitters are getting balls from over behind their shoulder, having to reach and make an error. Just get that first pass more on net.
Well, here's a look at the play that's being reviewed.
Does not look like anyone was in the net for Florida. And again, that's why the middle position, in my opinion, is one of the hardest ones on the floor. You are having to jump up, get your hands over the net, but somehow your body cannot touch the net whatsoever. And
Kennedy.
Talking about how good Florida's offense is doing, that's something they've struggled in a few matches here and there. So they are coming for redemption tonight, and that's part of their game plan. We are hitting marks. We are going aggressive. We are not rolling or tipping until A&M decides to pick our balls up.
Let's see if we can get another vantage point.
Still pretty good view of no touch of the net. Those bright little arm bands help too, to notice they're not in the net.
It is a pretty lengthy review they're taking.
The Gator bench does not seem to mind. I love that the benches always have their own energy, especially during challenges, and then usually each team has their own little dance when they win a challenge.
Did you have your own dance when you would?
Yeah, where's the camera? Come over here, I'll show you.
Well, during your playing days, not now.
No,
your
we
dancing
didn't
days are
have
over.
challenges then.
You know,
how do you say old without saying old?
It looks like they're done with the review. Again, we saw the look at one point in the net. I wonder if it happened at a different point in the play, because they are the vantage point we saw was pretty cut and dry.
And that was a very long rally with a lot of out-of-system plays, which means the ball can be towards the net at times. Arms flying all over trying to get the touch. So yes, Jamie Morrison could be looking at any part of that long play. And for Mary Wise, whether it goes your way or not, you're up 7 points and you're talking to your team about what's going right and how to keep going. Right now, she does not look very phased, looks very confident on her 6 on the floor.
I think we'll get one more look here.
Okay, after review of the play, the call is confirmed. Texas A&M will lose their challenge. Florida gets the point.
Would be a volleyball without some drama.
Okay.
Who's going to get this challenge?
Well, right now, everything going the Gators' way, including the challenges. Florida up by 7. Again, both of these teams looking to rebound coming off losses in their previous match. Mary Wise happy with this opening set and that decision so far. We talked to her earlier today, said, when is the last time you had to deal with so many injuries in a young team? She said, before these players were born, it's been a while. Overcoming that early, this one falling to the floor was McKissick. The Aggies with a much-needed point.
And Florida forgives their setter, Alexis Stuckey. They want her to be aggressive, especially when that first pass is that tight on the net. They're running a 5-1, which means when Alexis is up at the front, she can jump and be an additional attacker for Florida.
There's Tatum Thomas, junior transfer at a Grand Canyon University in Phoenix. A strong impact from the service line this year. Stuckey tried the dump. Rapio in the match now for the Aggies. Next row was Perkins getting a piece of that. Pushed out wide right into the block. Stuckey. That one off hands. Joust. And a point for A&M. Aggies trying to get back in this set.
A&M with the point, but look at this coverage from Ava Underwood. This libero is showing her hitters, you can hit anywhere you want. I will get this ball up. That's the trust hitters need to have in their libero.
Tatum Thomas serving again, one of 5 transfers brought into this team by Jamie Morrison. Sliding over a gust, Underwood unable to keep it alive, and Florida comes right back to make it 20-14.
Gators happy to see Auguste back at the front row. She is a force, especially when that footwork is going down with Alexis Stuckey.
She's had 4 matches this year already, hitting better than 6, error number 3.
Running the match for Florida, number 20, Taylor Parks, and number 25, Alex Long. Back for your Aggies, number 12, Eva Underwood.
At the service line, Taylor Parks. Team leader in aces as a freshman, 23. And there is another, number 24.
Errors happen all the time in volleyball, but miscommunication is one of the hardest ones to accept. That first pass needs to be handled by the teammates around them. You can never see a ball drop after your own teammate is the one who touches it.
Well, Jamie Morrison now calling a timeout. His team, as you mentioned, kind of looking out of sorts right there. Mentioned at the top of the broadcast that the Aggies looking for their first home win against a ranked team of the Jamie Morrison era. Mary Wise, conversely, the veteran in her 34th year at Florida. And again, both of these coaches close. Mary Wise had a lot of praise for Jamie Morrison and what he has done for not only this program here in College Station. She said he's always looking out for what's best for the sport and what's best for the SEC as well.
And Mary Wise said that not only is Jamie Morrison just such a good person, but she says he does so much for the program, the sport of volleyball, the experience he has on the pro side, the men's side, and he really brings that to A&M. Example, right side Logan Lennicki is getting the most balls in the back row attack. Usually in college volleyball, you see back row attacks go through the middle. She's in right back hitting. That's what you see on the pros, and that's the kind of strategy he is bringing to College Station.
Meanwhile, as for Mary Wise, what a resume. 33 consecutive trips to the NCAA postseason, in charge of Florida, winningest active coach, more than 1,000 wins. She's won 87% of her matches in charge of Florida. You could go through all the stats, just unbelievable numbers. And her team ranked number 23 in the nation heading into tonight, leading here in set number 1 as play resumes. On the attack was Emily Helmuth. Ends up tooling the block.
Great pass by Manning, not too on the net. She had to run for it, but still made that ball stop and forced that quick to her outside. Great connection.
Here is Maddie Wack, the transfer from LSU, 12th in the nation in assists. Stuckey off the block. That one too strong from Perkins.
And what makes Florida so good, one of the many reasons, is that Mary Wise creates teams where when they make mistakes, they don't look like it physically, especially Stuckey. She gets messed up at the block. She goes to the huddle, all smiles, ready to move on.
Emerson Hoyle, the junior in the match for the first time out of Arden, North Carolina. A miscommunication there, and it ends up with the Gators going up by 1.
And in volleyball, there's a lot of talk before each play, the setter telling you with their hands, hey, this is the play we are running. Every time, right here, number 16, she is showing them with her hands before the serve where I'm gonna set you.
Off the Hoyle serve. Helmuth got all of that one.
Helmuth struggled a little early in the first set and is completely taking over with a tough arm swing. That's why it's so important for Thomas to line up with Stuckey and get forehands against her.
Former West Coast Conference Freshman of the Year a couple seasons ago with Pepperdine. Walk into the net. Well, so far in this set, both teams hitting better than 300. A much closer set up to this point. And then the opening one. There's Stuckey. And the Aggies tie it at 8.
The fact that Florida didn't bite in the middle, I really thought Amaya Thomas was going to try and block that tight pass, but she showed so much patience. Did not work out for Florida, but that's a smart middle right there.
It'll be Ellie Stinson, the Indiana native, the senior, serving. Stuckey over to Martin, ends up with the point.
Stuckey completely throwing that ball across the court from Martin. Look where Stuckey is right here. It is all power. She's almost at the right front and shoves it out to that perfect setter window to the outside of Martin.
What a career arc for Isabel Martin. Spent her first 2 years playing community college volleyball. Ends up transferring to UNLV, becomes an All-American, and then comes to the Gators. But it's A&M now trying to go on a run.
And Martin from Germany, I love that Mary Wise said, after she recruited Martin, Martin told her coach, just so you know, Florida is my dream school ever since I was little.
From Germany to Florida to Vegas, back to Florida for her 6th year. Off the block by Martin. As
Perfect
expected,
touch.
Yeah, Kennedy Martin having a big impact.
Always expecting the perfect touch from Kennedy Martin, especially when you have that 6'6" height. Doesn't even have to give Oliver a jump every once in a while. She can just go off the fingertips when needed. She's
hitting .636 with 7 kills and 3 blocks. Again, on the National Player of the Year watch list. Tied again.
And now Nikki is serving. Watch out for those back row attacks.
That one backs up Isabel Martin. There's Kennedy Martin. The service there is an interesting topic around the sport, where a number of coaches, including Jamie Morrison, don't always believe there's a big correlation between service errors and winning or losing. We did the Stanford SMU match the other night. Stanford had 22 service errors, 3 aces, but they ended up sweeping SMU.
After almost giving up a full set.
Yeah.
But that just shows you this game plan really can work when everything else has got it down.
Absolutely. They plan on being aggressive. Gators end up with the point, back up by 1.
For Texas A&M, number 12, Eva Underwood. Also for Florida, number 3, Emerson Hoyle.
The Gators hitting better than 400 in the second set. 233 on the night. Walk, Helmuth, off hands and out of play. Thomas couldn't handle it.
Nice decision by Helmuth. She sees Thomas was a little early on the block. That causes her to fall down when Helmuth reaches over. Watch number 55. She's already coming down. That's why she tries to reach and touch that ball last second.
Helmuth had her best match in an Aggies uniform a few weeks ago. 19 kills against Mizzou. Stuckey answers for Florida. And a back and forth second set here in College Station. Gators up by 1. Set these in, and both On the National Player of the Year watch list, Isabel Martin, the two-time All-American transfer from UNLV. And Kennedy Martin, the sophomore who set the freshman record a season ago for kills in a season by a first-year Gator. Kennedy Martin tonight leading the way with a team-high 7 kills, hitting nearly 600, Shelby.
And Kennedy Martin's one of those players that was coming off of injury. She handled her ankle sprain like a pro. And for Isabel Martin, she's finished with double-digit kills 9 times this season so far.
Mary Wise said Kennedy Martin is tough like her dad. Former NFL wide receiver Ruvel Martin played a number of years with the Packers. Tooling the block is Texas A&M, and we're tied at 15.
Helmuth doing such a good job at reading Florida's blocking hands right now. Florida's block was a little bit off the net. Helmuth decides to just swipe at those hands and make the ball drop right, rolling over the net.
There is Ellie Stinson. Team leader in aces. Aggies with 1 ace tonight. There's a service error.
And for Stinson, when you miss your serve, you are praying that this serve from Florida comes to me. I need a 3-option pass to my setter, get that redemption from my missed serve.
Isabel Martin serving. Two-time Mountain West Conference Player of the Year. On the attack, Lednicki.
It's like we haven't said Lednicki's name a lot just because she hasn't been said in a few times, because she is always getting the ball right at your screen. You got to make sure you have 4 hands up against her. And Maya Thomas completely late to that hit against her.
12 ties in this set alone. Underwood popped up by McKissick. Kennedy Martin, a rare miss.
Martin just not snapping her wrist. Not sure if she was trying to go for the fingertips of the Aggies, but if she just snapped in that arm swing, it would have gone straight to the middle.
A&M by 1. Stuckey holding up at the last second a little bit was Fitz of categories. Jamie Morrison likes numbers, likes analytics. Is not a big fan of rankings, outside rankings. He said, you know, if it's done by computers, if it's scientific, he's more apt to be a believer in that than outside opinions.
There's always that numbers coach.
I.e. the media and broadcasters, potentially. That would sit over. No, Fitzpatrick can't get the point. Aggies pulling away a little bit now here in set number 2, up by 3.
Blocks are one of the biggest things that give teams momentum because it's personal, it's in your face, it's shutting that hitter down in front of you.
4-0 A&M run with Underwood serving. Kennedy Martin trying to stop that run, and she does not.
It's crazy watching how high Martin makes contact with at the ball. And her arm swing is just so in sync. It just needs to snap a little bit more, then it'll go in.
5-0 run for the Aggies. Again, it's Martin. Stinson was there. Jeffrey denied. How about the freshman middle blocker, Alec Roth? We haven't called her name too much, but she is second on the team in blocks this year.
Nice adjustment by Martin. Right now her sets are really far off the net. I almost thought for a second she was back row. She's getting set really deep right now, and maybe that's the reason the balls are going out.
We've gone on a number of runs with her serving. See what the Gators do here. Jeffrey falling to the floor. Free ball for Florida. Martin, Parks, Kennedy Martin from the back row. And the Gators clawing back in the second set.
Martin covering other Martin, following the ball, making sure her teammate is not going to get blocked and have the ball drop in.
Kennedy Martin has taken 18 swings, 9 kills so far. Most swings by any player on either team tonight. Crowd here at Reed Arena into it in this close second set. Martin with her team down 2. The last second, Wacht stepped in front of Underwood, and here comes Florida within 1. And a timeout now by Jamie Morrison.
Too, but you did it first, so there you go.
Well, whatever the case, Logan Lednicki has certainly been impressive.
And that's the definition of a household name. Logan Lednicki, a junior this season, is rising in the ranks with other big-time players. One, Olivia Babcock, the right side for Pitt. These two remind each other a lot. Remind me a lot of each other.
Kennedy Martin, Gators within one. And there is a set-tying ace right there by Martin. I'm telling you, with her at the service line, the Gators have really controlled play tonight.
When Martin just meets the ball at such a high clip that when she serves, it's literally coming down as if it's a hit.
11 points on her 15 serves this evening. That was her first ace. In the middle, pushed over by August. Walk behind her, Lednicki off the block. August sliding over, falling to the floor was Lednicki. Martin, Parks. That one deflects off of Underwood. The power brought by A.C. Fitzpatrick.
Good try by Underwood. She read Fitzpatrick's shoulders, knew she was going cross, but Fitzpatrick just brought the momentum this hard. Underwood not able to keep that ball going up above her head.
5-0 Gators run with Martin serving, and they have the lead. Looking for more, and they get it. Second ace of the night by Kennedy Martin.
Easier said than done, but Ava Underwood is not a player the Aggies can afford to get frustrated. She first got the kill on her, then was ace, but she's the go-to player for A&M's defense. She cannot let this bleed into the next point.
6-0 Florida run. The Aggies were in charge midway through this set, and the tide has turned, much to the dismay of some of the young bouncing Aggies fans here at Reed Arena. Don't forget, every Saturday, Marty and McGee and SEC Nation get you ready for football with SEC game previews and the latest news from around the conference. Tomorrow morning, the guys will be in Knoxville for number 7 Alabama, number 11 Tennessee on ABC. Marty and McGee begins at 9 a.m. Eastern.
Do you think that baby's first word will be mama or howdy?
Or Marty and McGee.
Or 3 words, Marty and McGee.
Got the maroon out going on here at Reed Arena. We were here early in the season when they had that record-setting crowd of around 7,000 for the matchup against the Longhorns, the largest regular season crowd in state history for a volleyball match.
And every match for here in Reed Arena the last couple seasons has been absolutely packed. And that, look at this crowd here. Jamie Morrison said, that is my goal. What I love is that Jamie Morrison, before the match and after, personally goes in the stands and thanks these students for coming here. That's how you build a culture.
There have been 26 attendance records around the nation broken this year, including here at Reed Arena. Joust popped back up in the air. Martin pushes it with authority, but the Aggies end up with the point.
That is one of the most vocal I've ever seen it, Jamie Morrison, be when it comes to reaction. That's what happens, though, when you're down a set in the second.
Over by the freshman Roth. Emily Helmuth. Kissick. Here is Kennedy Martin, and it drops in there for the point. 11 kills now for Martin.
And take note that for Florida, Alexis Stuckey is on the bench right now, but they are still making production happen with Martin and Taylor Parks. Again, Taylor Parks stepped in for the matches that Stuckey was out. And Mary Wise said, we are okay giving Stuckey a break if needed.
Again, Stuckey playing in just her 8th match of the season since coming back from injury. And the Aggies get their first point of the set.
For Florida, that's the smart move. Bench Stuckey. I don't like even saying the word for a bench. Give her a break. You're up 2 sets. She's coming off injury. Also, give Parks this chance to get that SEC experience under her belt.
Alexis Stuckey burst onto the scene a couple of years ago when she was named SEC Freshman of the Year. Maddie Walk setting it up for Lednicki. That one spun around McKissick. Walk with the dump and gets the point.
That corner is the ideal spot for a setter to throw that ball, and that's what you can do when you're a 5-1. Right now, Walk is up at the net, which means she can either set or be aggressive when jumping over the net.
Again, what a player to get through the portal. Leading the conference in assists. Off the block, diving to keep it alive was Stinson. Popped up in the air by Martin, Kennedy Martin. And a point by Texas A&M, up by 2.
Florida called with the double. This is the first year where you are allowed to double if it stays on your side. If you double it, which means setting with there's movement over the net, that's going to be the opponent's point.
Morgan Perkins serving for A&M. Again, the Gators have won 22 of the 24 all-time matchups. Lednicki couldn't get it across, deflected back into her teammate Stinson.
Good try by Stinson to be there to cover, but I do think that ball was in the net regardless, and Lednicki should not be frustrated whatsoever. She is the go-to offensive player right now for the Aggies.
Yeah, more frustrated with the score as her team trails 2-0. Not for lack of effort from her. McKissick with the serve off helmet. There is Lednicki. Free ball for Florida coming up. Martin just sends it down with ease. Again, easy.
That's a good point. When you're 6'6" like Martin, for the Aggies, you have to know she is going to get hers. There will be kills from her that you simply can't get a hand on. Got to move on from it.
Ellie McKissick, 128 career aces. Maddie Waugh, Casapala, haven't called her name much at all in this match. Talented middle blocker. Helmuth off the block. A quick strike out of play from Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick playing like her team is up 2 sets. When you have a lead like that, that's when you can try and start experimenting more, being extra aggressive. And now Maddie Waugh is serving, so look for her when she is setting. She has to stay on the ground. No more jumping and dumping.
Aggies up by 1. And putting that one away is August again.
The fact that August is running slides as a freshman off Parks, not even the starting setter, shows you she can work with whoever, against whoever. Slides are extremely hard to get down. The footwork, the timing, everything has to be perfect.
Always with that huge smile on her face after the point. McKissick. Isabel Martin with the point.
Martin getting a little lucky. Outsides don't usually pick right on Ava Underwood. 90% of the time she gets that ball up, but Underwood's platform broke, giving Martin the kill.
The Gators have gone in front. Emily Canan, Texas native, Lednicki. August was there. Back to the powerful junior. This time, there's no stopping Lednicki.
It does not get any harder than this kill from Lednicki. Watch how fast after contact the ball goes to the ground. There is zero chance anyone is getting a hand on that ball. Too powerful.
Underwood with the serve.
Yeah, that's a good try.
Yeah, Taylor Parks, the freshman, into the block it goes and out of bounds. Point Lednicki and the Aggies.
Lednicki showing her IQ in this sport. She was coming down a little early for the ball, really out of system, and just swipes the hands of Florida getting the kill.
Averaging nearly 4.5 kills per set this year. Hitting better than 300, a career year. That one. Oh, Margot looks stunned for a moment. She is okay. Regardless, point the Gators.
It's on her shoulder.
Is that supposed
You
to
would
be?
see if it was on her face, it'd be really red.
That would hurt me.
No, she's okay. She's not scared.
It's her shoulder, no big deal. The serve from Emerson Hoyle. Lednicki terminates.
Logan Lednicki is looking like Logan Eggleston. Look at this height and how fast she is hitting. It does not get more powerful than this. One of the best hitters in the country, in my opinion.
Trying to put this team on her shoulders. Tied for the team lead with 11 kills. Parks. That one off of Morgan. Lauren Harden sends Underwood flying. Stinson has to hurry in. Helmuth! No, a little too much on it. Aggies arguing it was touched. And Jamie Morrison will listen to his players and break out the challenge card.
I like this call from Jamie Morrison. Even if that ball was out, this is showing that you are telling your hitter, that was such a good spot, keep doing it, because eventually, no matter what the call is, that's going to be in.
They need some kind of momentum here, some kind of turnaround. They led at different points in this set, in the last set as well.
The original decision was point Florida, no touch on the play. Texas A&M is challenging a touch.
Just from my view, I didn't think there was a touch. I thought that it was actually in, but that ball was hit so fast and hard, there was not much time for me to see any spin. If a player touches it on the block, that ball will spin, but if it's hit as hard as Helmuth hit it, it's really hard to see that spin. Let's watch right here. See if there's a spin after she hits it. Actually, this could be a good call off her arm. No. It's a good call. It's worth the challenge, but I don't think it touches, at least from this view. You can see the shadow on the right side of Martin's hand.
Aggies looking for a turn of fortune. We'll see if they get it here as the review continues to be looked at.
I do not think any part of Martin touched that ball. And again, like you said, Alex, momentum-wise, if A&M can't get the momentum, try and stop Florida's momentum. I don't think it touched any part of Martin at all, including her hair.
The initial ruling again was no touch and out of play. The point going to Florida as Jamie Morrison talks over the situation. His team down 2-0. Gators took the first one 25-20.
All the pressure is on the Aggies, so if you can get Florida to stop with it. You really can't. You can't expect anything in volleyball this year. No matter who's going to win the set, the match, the challenge, it's just up in the air, and I love it. I truly never know what's going to happen.
Okay, so the Aggies end up winning the point. And serving for A&M will be the junior transfer, Maddie Wack, the Katy, Texas native. Service error.
And now Martin back to serve. Keep an eye out for those back row attacks to go to her. I talked about for Pitt, Olivia Babcock is also right side. These two players are hitting in the back on the right a lot, just like Logan Lednicki is.
There's Kennedy Martin, 3 aces and 15 kills so far tonight. Joust somewhat as that one bounced off the side of the net as well. And the Gators end up going up by 1.
Right now, A&M is playing like it's 24-23. He's still got a lot of third set left.
That does count as an ace for Martin. By the way, number 4 on the night. She is dominated at times, but Casapala with the answer. They need her big time in this set if they want to keep this night alive.
Casapala, you can just see right now how she is moving that ball around. Jamie Morrison said she has so much balance when it comes to her shot placement.
Helmuth serving for the Aggies. Last 2 sets have been extremely close. Parks, Kennedy Martin. That one smashed off of Helmuth. This time it's Lauren Harden, punched up by Walk, one-handed. On the attack, getting the point, Taylor on hand. As an A&M team receiving votes, trailing number 23, Florida, 2-0. But up by 1 here in the third.
They do have the best signs here.
We saw SpongeBob, we saw Dancing Banana, Joust, popped up by Casapala. Nobody got to it for A&M.
Again, an error like this communication on the A&M side is something that
Helmuth. It's the official who delivers a smile after that. She's okay. Gators up by 1, 19-18. There's Isabel Martin. 5 kills on the night for the transfer. Helmuth, that one spun around and points A&M.
Florida a little unlucky. They could have gotten that ball up, but the ball rolled over after they touched it and hit the antenna, completely canceling the rest of the play.
On the night, Florida hitting 191. The Aggies 161, but a big difference has been in the blocks category. The Gators with 12. Aggies with 4. A&M on the ropes, down 2-0, and now down 20-19 in this third set.
You gotta feel for Thomas. There's nothing worse than missing your serve than having to sub out right now. Aggies struggling, 12 service errors in such a close set right now. Try to erase those errors as much as possible.
Off the McKissick serve, Helmuth led Nikki, trying to single-handedly get her team back in this. What a play by Parks, diving to keep it alive, the freshman. Helmuth tries to tool the block. August batted around. Free ball for the Gators. A frantic point here late in the third set that is won by who else? Kennedy Martin.
Martin with the kill, but the story is Florida's defense. These digs are insane. McKissick, everyone, it's spreading around, it's contagious. The
campaign this year averaging nearly 4.5 kills per set, 332. And we mentioned earlier, coming off that injury, Mary Wise said, yeah, you can tell she's the child of a football player. She's got her dad's toughness gene. Former NFL receiver Ravel Martin, and that gene paying off tonight as the Gators looking for the sweep now of the host Aggies. Out of the timeout, it will be Ellie McKissick serving for Florida, top 10 all-time in aces in program history. Diving in was Underwood. Maddie Walk behind her. Helmuth can't get it over the net. And match point coming up for the Gators. Timeout by A&M. And what a response this evening by Florida. Again, they were swept by South Carolina at home in their last match. A South Carolina team that was winless in SEC play. They hadn't been swept by an unranked team in 2 years. So you're wondering how they would come out tonight. They look like an entirely different club this evening.
And Reed Arena is a very difficult place to play, and thousands of fans here. Really, really good volleyball culture here under Jamie Morrison. And the fact that Florida is coming in, battling through injuries, playing 2 different setters, and the hitters are still getting kills. Really, really a great answer from Florida after a couple tough losses.
Gators picked to come in second in the conference. Just 2 and 3 in SEC play, but again, I mean, you just can't ignore the injury storyline. If they get completely healthy, and listen, Alexis Stuckey looked healthy to us tonight, but you mentioned it earlier, Shelby. She played the complete first set, but we haven't seen much from her since then.
And that is not a talent.